Good morning, buddy. We're in Midland, Texas. I had a Facebook post I want to share with you, and some new events really. Uh, Day before yesterday, on the 13th, June 13th, 2019. I got a call from a Hailey Dunn blogger that I visit with about the case of the 13-year-old murdered famous missing child from Colorado City, Texas, and how that's connected to the crimes here. Well, anyways, this person had called and talked to the Scurry County District Attorney's office, investigators over there, because they have jurisdiction over this case, over the Hailey Dunn investigation, and then requested that I call, and so I went ahead and did, and it's the first time I've ever done that. There's an investigator named John McDaniel. And so when I called, that's who I talked to, and I shared this story with him, and that's what I'm gonna share with you. So then I did a Facebook post, and the video that I chose to share here was this one here, and basically it wasn't long. It's basically I told Hailey Dunn investigator today how I got connected with the case, and the many people that are documented saying that Hailey was killed and or buried over in Odessa, but her remains were found in Scurry County 2 days after I suggested that somebody check the underground facility near my home. Two people told me that her murder was connected to the murder of Cody Mercer, which is another unsolved murder from there. I had also gave this information to Homeland Security a few weeks ago, since Allison said that she was being pimped out after being kidnapped, that Hailey was being pimped out. News West 9 reported in 2012 that Sonia Renee Callahan had said they were laughing at her before they murdered her. That pisses me off every time I read that. She was only 13-year-old, just a little girl. I look forward to the day that she gets justice, and I believe we'll find out that it's connected to the crimes here. And then I'm going to basically what happened here a few months ago, the father of Hailey, who was Clint Dunn, and a private investigator named Erica, they were going around to the news stations, what I call the witchcraft tour, and their theory that Hailey's murder was all connected to some rug and rich witchcraft, and they seem to keep ignoring the half dozen people that are documented saying that Hailey was killed over in Odessa. And so basically, to back up what I just said real shortly, is that on March 14, 2013, I emailed the Department of Justice and suggested that somebody look in the underground facility said by multiple people to be near my home, and 2 days later the remains of Hailey Dunn are found in Scurry County. Now a half dozen people are documented as saying that she was killed and or buried in Odessa, which is Ector County. Okay, and just to give you an idea, if you're not from here, Colorado City is only about 80 miles away. Hailey Dunn was a famous case, made national news on CNN, Nancy Grace, etc. Okay, millions of people know who this, know about this case. And she went missing in 2010, just a couple months after the infamous oil show party where that little girl, I was told that little girl was murdered, which had police present. I believe it happened in the underground facility. Rhonda Denman Rogers said it was a half block away. Another woman said there's 4 3-bedroom underground homes. That was recorded on a phone call. This is all other people documented, okay? And this was actually sent to the Department of Justice, and as I gave you the date, on March 14th. And, I have overwhelming evidence to support allegations underground facility. Maybe she's being held here. She's still missing at this time. Okay, and keep in mind that a year earlier that I had called the DEA and reported a suspected tunnel, and then I was ambushed and shot in my home with burglar alarms going off my attic. And now I've documented just calls all over Midland, Odessa for other homeowners reporting people in the attic, all over Texas and multiple other states, California, and these are other people. It's in the news about people getting in the attic, and I believe it's all connected to a common human trafficking ring. But anyway, so there's the connection here. So basically, I'm just chronologically going over the evidence and what happened. Okay, and so in 2012, News West 9 reported that Sonia Renee Callahan said that she was at a home over in Odessa where a girl matching Hailey's description had overdosed and died. Okay, and so that's, you can go look at this and you can Google that and find that and read this story, and that's where I got it. They said it was over a drug debt for a family drug debt. That happened in Odessa, that she's overdosed. They were laughing at her face, etc. Okay, so this is in the news. Okay, and then I created videos. I got a set of videos, Midland, Texas Tunnels Crime. A drug rehab counselor named Christy Otts watches one of them, watches this one actually, Midland, Texas Tunnels Crime Part 3. It talks about the secluded truck unloading lane, the suspected child sex trafficking, little girl I saw out there, had the connection to the crimes here, okay? And so there's my video. Well, Christy writes on this Facebook post, I received Hailey Dunn's confession in June 25. Since reporting, my life's gone upside down. And I'm not going to read all that to you, but, you know, here she's a college graduate. So a client comes in and confesses. Then Christy writes me on Facebook with an alias Allison Mack is a fake name. I think it's a name she made up having to do with some of her family or whatever. And you can see the date on there. Okay, so she writes me. She said, the guy said she was traded by her mother for a drug balance of $135 worth of meth. While she was in the care of the dealer, she flipped out, and they shot her up with something, and she overdosed and died. The guy who confessed to me said he took her back to her mother, and they stuffed her in a box. He described the way they had to bend her and break her to fit. Then they buried her on a ranch outside Odessa. And there's more on this, but this is the drug rehab counselor telling me this, okay? And she says the guy's name's Brett Bushman, okay? And a lot of people know over here in Odessa, probably one of the wealthiest families in Odessa is the Bushmans, and they used to own CBS 7, MCM Elegante, A1 Mobile Homes, and you know, just all kinds of businesses and etc. But it's still unknown if this Bushman is related to the wealthy Bushmans. But this is who Christy said come in, okay? And then Christy also forwarded me an email. And I redacted some of it out, but this was communications between her supervisor and her, because she was trying to get this reported, and I think there was, you know, problems. You can tell, you can read the thing, and she's upset. But anyway, she's writing here, since he did have a hand in stuffing a child's body inside of a safe, he inflicted harm on a child. Basically, that needed to be reported. That's what Christy was saying. You know, she's upset. And then his confession in the involvement in 3 separate homicides, well, one of which being the son of one of her counselors, etc. So here's this email, and you can tell that this is, you know, I'm just a third party. She took a print screen and sent it to me, and she's upset at her supervisors because this guy comes in and confesses to 3 murders plus murder in Hailey Dunn, and you know, and nobody's doing anything about it, and her life gets turned upside down or something like that. Okay, so at that point I recognized that, hey, she was saying the same thing that News West 9 reported that Sonia Renee Callahan said. So I created a video called Hailey Dunn Murder Confession. You can find it on my YouTube channel. Okay, and it said I compared this story, News West 9, with these emails and messages from Christy Otts, the drug rehab counselor. Okay, and she said he was affiliated. It was some gang members. I believe it was Aryan Brotherhood. Okay, so I create Sonia Renee Callahan's sister. Here reads this. When I made that video, it had like 40,000 views. And then so the sister, Sonia Renee Callahan, watched the video and then contacted her. She called me and I secretly recorded it. That's this video, this phone call, child killers. Okay, and I'm not going to play it because I'm keeping this short, but you can go to my YouTube and find it. And Sonia's telling me, he's like, what was I supposed to do, buddy? It was either her and me or just her. And she's describing the moment that this little 13-year-old little girl's murdered, okay, to me over the phone. It's recorded and it's placed on YouTube. That's really where this is at. And at the end of the call, she starts calling out all these names, okay? And I don't know any of these people. You know, I mean, they're alleged, I guess some of them are alleged gang members over in Odessa, and I think one of them's doing life sentence for double murder, etc. Okay. Well, then that caused a lot of communications. A woman named Taryn Thomas writes on my Facebook wall. She tells me that lots of people knew Hailey was at that home in Odessa and how they shaved her head 2 weeks before she overdosed. That seemed like that didn't seem made up. That sounds like, it sounds like that was a true story to me. I mean, who makes up something like that, right? And she didn't know that a private investigator named Brenda Paradise out of Houston at the time, I think now lives in Alaska, had already told me no hair was found on the remains, which seemed to confirm the story of they shaved her head. Okay, and so here's Taryn. I took a print screen of it, so it's not he said, she said, and she says, I think it's safe to say we all know the mom, stepdad, and Hailey were on dope. Okay, people know Odessa been saying that for a while, and they had Hailey for a good while. Hailey knew who had her, and it wasn't a hostage situation. People said that they heard people had gone to the house while she was there, and she's walking around like she owned it. And then she shaved her head. Supposedly she's buried in that same backyard. I paraphrase some of that. Okay, and then Brenda Paradise says, I heard that when they found Hailey, they found the remains, no hair, which was found would mean that the body was moved. Now, at the time, that's what we were suspecting, and I still suspect that because I sent that email to the Department of Justice, and 2 days later, her remains are found in Scurry County. So thus they didn't look here. But now a half dozen people are documented saying that Hailey was killed over in Odessa, Ector County. And one of them people's Taryn Thomas. She was, over at this house. And so Renee Callahan said it, and it said Brad Bushman said it, and Taryn Thomas just said it, documented. Okay. And then this woman contacts me as Brandy Dunn, okay? And she said it happened at the home of Brooke Owensby over in Odessa. She said the murder of Hailey was connected to the murder of Cody Mercer, and they filmed it. She then tells me the cops had it filmed, okay? And then another woman, we were talking about it, she says she had seen the films and it was disgusting, okay? And so then, I've got a print screen, and once again, it's not Buddy saying so-and-so said. I'm showing you. I'm just the messenger here. I'm taking print screens and recording phone calls, and says, I was at Brooke Owensby's house, and basically she was wanting me to put what she called a press release that these two guys, Casey Frazine, Dustin Braddock, wasn't there, that was her friends or whatever, and there were names I think that were called out by Sonia Renee Callahan and somebody else. I'm trying to think. Allison, I think, might have called them name. I'm not positive about that. Anyway, let's see. There's a video. So the video, and the cops have it. Okay, they have both the videos. Okay, and so that's what she's telling me. And then here, I'm talking to this Jessica Lee Hadley, and this is real interesting. And she says, yes, that's correct. They videotaped the whole thing. It's absolutely disgusting because I told her, I said that sounded like Cody Mercer, and told her the story. And even Jessica goes on to say that this ring of pedophiles that actually run and maintain Odessa and in Texas, okay, and so that was confirmation, double confirmation that it was filmed. Once again, these are more people saying that Hailey was overdosed, died over, or killed over in Odessa, and or buried over in Odessa. But keep in mind, her remains are found in Scurry County 2 days after I wrote the Department of Justice and suggested they look in the underground facility here. Okay, that ought to be a big clue to you right there. Okay, and then another person calls me and says, hey, you need to check out Blog Talk Radio. Okay, there's a blogger, and that was the blogger that called me, Angelina, and she made a phone call with an Allison Fraser, and that's what Angelina was telling John McDaniel, the investigator for the district attorney, that there's this phone call. This phone call right here, I think, is the tell-all right here, because what happened, a guy, her baby daddy or whatever, or Allison's baby daddy, according to Allison, was crying, broke down, and told her everything that happened. When they kidnapped her, who was there, they pimped her out over in Odessa, and then she got killed. The clothes she's wearing is just packed full of details. You can tell that and that's what I told him on the phone. I said, you can easily tell what she's telling is the truth, and you want to hear what happened to Hailey Dunn. Listen to this. They kidnapped her in an alley over in Colorado City, and then they took her to Odessa. Once again, it's Odessa, okay? So how many people is that that's saying that Hailey's over in Odessa, okay? And then on another day, here, this Samantha Everett, she recognizes Allie writing on my wall at the time and says, are you the one on that phone call? And she says, yes, I am. And it was real good. She says, she was talking about the police, okay, here, it's sad that people hear that during the time police were called when she was live, nobody heard us. Basically, they wasn't listening to her. She told them what happened. and I believe Allison did know what happened. They just thought that we was messed up on meth, which we were, but then I've been sober for 3 years, and my story hasn't been changed, and where's the excuse now? Hailey could have been saved if the cops just listened. I don't care who sees this, because anyone that is okay with what happened to her is a punk and can rot in hell. You can tell that Allison Frazier is upset, you know, and she goes on and writes again. They know who they are, and they are probably reading this right now, and I don't care who they're reading it. I just want them to ask, how does it make you feel? How does a grown man get off with a child? How do you feel knowing that it got back to the right people, that you wouldn't walk this earth? How do you feel knowing you did that to a child of your own kid's age? Y'all all are sick, and I wish you well on your judgment day, because everyone that condones what happened to Hailey will need mercy. You didn't give that girl. Hope you all burn in hell. I don't believe she will have justice on earth, etc. Okay. So you can tell the passion, and this is the person on the phone call that I'm telling you about, that Allison. And you know, and her story is confirmed by multiple other people. Lots of people saying Hailey was killed in Odessa. Okay. And so then there's one other person that I never released this phone call, but I have a phone call that's secretly recorded, and I took some notes on it, and here I redacted names out of it to show. But this is one more person that also told me, it confirmed the same story, same names, and it says, and basically a lot of this is from a phone call I recorded, but I didn't post it public. And yet it's another person saying the same thing as the rest of them. And then at 2 hours, 52 minutes, I can tell you that so-and-so lived in Big Springs, and she's a big-time lady, and made it clear that these guys, that she was tired of people taking advantage of her, and that the murder of Hailey Dunn would be an example of what would happen if these sons of bitches didn't come up with some money. And I'm talking about Hailey, okay? So she was a drug dealer, and they didn't pay her, okay? Over $130 that girl was killed. And okay, see, Christy Otts had told me that Brett Bushman said it was $135. This woman corrected the amount to $130 and said that was wrong. And then also I didn't mention this, but I had people tell me that the mom, Billy Dunn, withdrew $140 one day, and we're thinking it might have been this $130, $135. So anyway, so that word would get out to that all you son of a bitches, if I'm going to do this for $130 and it's going to be a woman's daughter, don't think you won't be had for the $5,000 you owe me, or how much ever, whatever. And I think I asked her who all did you hear was there, and I blanked a lot of them names. I think I forgot to blank out Max Mays, but that was one of the names. Possibly that was the same name. These are the same names that was called out Sonia Renee Callahan. Most of them were. And UC blank is first in charge, and then blank. Okay, so she's telling me who was in charge of this Aryan Brotherhood gang over there, and these were the people there over in Odessa. And my understanding that the Aryan Brotherhood itself doesn't condone raping and murdering kids. Okay, and so this might just be a few of them that did this. I don't know. This is alleged, or I said I'm just the messenger here. I don't know if I was there or not talking about the murder of Hailey. I know that when he talked to me, he was crying. This is her friend that was there that told her what happened, okay? And it's the same story once again. It's blank, blank, ask blank. When I have to stand in front of God, do you think he's going to forgive me? So this friend of hers is crying and asking her, do you think he's going to forgive me? He says, did you have anything to do with it? And he said, no, but I was there and I could have stopped it. And she says, how could you have stopped it? He said, I could have shot the son of a bitch. I'm going to before it's over. And he's talking about, and he names the guy that gave Hailey the shot. And that is on that recording that was sent to law enforcement. And this is eating him up inside. So then my next post was, well, what underground facility in Midland? You know, is old Buddy just making this up? No, Buddy's not making it up. You know, it says, here's another print screen. I'm talking to Rhonda Denmarite. I said, there's an underground facility somewhere near my home. She says, yes, I know, it's a half block away. And there are multiple people documented saying there's an underground facility here. Remember, 2 weeks after reporting a suspected tunnel to the DEA, my phone lines are cut and I'm ambushed and shot by somebody under my home. That's a fact, okay? And I'm shot with a plastic tip bullet, okay? They tried tried to murder me in my home. And then when I moved in this home, the previous homeowner died. Okay, so once again, what underground facility? And then I link back to this video, $1 million underground facilities. This is a secretly recorded phone call of a different woman that tells me there's 4 3-bedroom homes, 25 foot deep, each costing $1 million. Okay, and I don't know if I didn't put it in there, but, you know, recently a woman says, hey, go look at maps.google.com for your address, 3802 Fair Circle, zoom in, and there's this huge facility in my backyard that's not there, can't be seen from above ground, okay, right on maps.google.com. And then I also said here, I told the investigator today that it makes sense that Billy, the mother of Hailey Dunn, was at the 2010 oil show prostitution party that my friend was at, since she was a stripper in the area. And maybe Hailey was too, since I was told that she was taking this little girl to the strip club with her, a 13-year-old. That party was 2 months before Hailey was reported missing, and that was the party where my friend told me another young girl was murdered for refusing to prostitute. She was afraid to report this murder and said that high-level police were there. I have reason to believe this happened in the underground facility, okay? What was going on, my friend that I worked with would come here. She had been ordered to work at that party with a lot of other people during this huge convention, international oil show. $1 million, billion-dollar companies are there. These wild parties are famous, okay? And then I believe it was going on in this underground facility that multiple people talk about. She would leave my house in 5 minutes. She would be at that party. I know that because we was talking on the phone. I gave the Homeland Security the phone numbers. Check the records, okay? But this is one message. Another print screen I got from this woman says, now, buddy, I heard that about Billy from a reliable source that Hailey was going with her, as well as staying in the dressing room while Billy Dunn, worked the stripper pole, okay? And so here she's going, she got it from a source that Billy Dunn was taking this 13-year-old little girl to a strip club with her, okay? And maybe that's where you'd meet gang members, you know, that's what I was thinking, just thinking the thing out, you know, and you know, and the meth connection, $130, $135, whatever. Okay, so then the Hope for Hailey Dunn admin, we're sitting there discussing this, name might be Stacy, a friend of Billy Dunn, and she's taking up for Billy's what she's doing because it's her friend. And she says, well, she's a nurse. She's doing secretarial work. And she was stripping. So basically, she confirmed that at the time, Billy Dunn, the mom, was a stripper. Well, it's not in the news that Billy Dunn, mother Hailey, was a stripper at the time. It's not in the news that Billy Dunn was alleged to take the little girl to the strip club with her. You know, and I'm sitting there going, my friend was ordered to work at this party. It makes sense. All these strippers in the area was ordered to work at the same party. It might even make sense that she took her little girl with her to the same party, you know. And so, like I said, I discussed this with McDaniel, and it's also been provided to Homeland. Hopefully, we can get this corrected and its connection to here, the underground facilities and all these other homes that are rigged with hidden access. I believe is connected with human trafficking, sex trafficking, and child sex trafficking. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.